Welcome to Pastor's Chat today. Well, we're looking at Psalm 82, another psalm by Asaph. Now, there's several different Asaphs in the Old Testament, and they wrote many of the psalms, and they were grouped together and because of their similarity. Now, it's interesting that this psalm here, we do not know when it was written and have no date for it, but it appears that Asaph, the poet, who's been writing these songs and psalms, has now become the preacher. He's looked around the land of Israel, whatever time he's living in, and he has been overwhelmed with corrupt judges who had been appointed by either a king or by the people in certain districts or areas, and it appeared that many of them were corrupt. Now that's interesting because today, like never before in my lifetime, we are having to deal with corruption in the government, corruption in high places, and at least we hear a whole lot about it, and it overwhelms us as we had some other thoughts and views of our government before these things begin to happen. Well, God is the judge, and that's what Asaph is going to preach and talk about. First, he's going to set in verse 1 it clear that God is the judge of all the earth. So listen as we read this psalm with that in your mind as far as the background is concerned, and then we'll go through and pick out a few things. And so he says, God stands in the congregation of the mighty. He judges among the gods. Now, let's just stop there because he's making it clear that doesn't matter who the judge on the bench is, doesn't matter how corrupt he might be, God is the judge of all the earth. He is standing in the congregation of the mighty. Now, the mighty, of course, are those people who are in places of position, who have places of authority, who are making major decisions that affect our lives every day, that send people to prison or condemns them to death, and they're the mighty. But God stands there. He is the judge of the judges. He judges among the gods. Now, interesting, he calls them gods here. In verse 8, he said, I said you are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. And so what gods is he talking about? We don't think he's talking about angels here. We believe he's talking about judges who represent God on the earth. They are the one that are deciding, okay, you're right, you're wrong, you're guilty, you're not guilty. And they're the judges of the earth. They're the gods of the earth. And he says he judges among the gods. So listen, no matter how corrupt the judge might be, or many of the judges might be, because at the same time, I tell you, we have some awesomely good judges. I've known many of them, and they are wonderful. They're people of integrity. They do what's right, and they make good decisions. But there are many today that are corrupt all over the earth, and especially in this time Asaph is writing. And so he says now, first he just proclaims God is the judge, and then in verse 2, he begins to tell us, okay, here's a message. Here's the message to the judges. How long will you judge unjustly and show partiality to the wicked? Selah. Defend the poor and the fatherless. Do justice to the afflicted and needy. Deliver the poor and needy. Free them from the hand of the wicked. They do not know, nor do they understand. They walk about in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are unstable. I said, you are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. But you shall die like men and fall like one of the princes. Arise, O God, judge the earth, for you shall inherit all nations. And so Asaph is calling upon God in the very last verse to be the judge that will take care of the unjust judges. And then he, in this psalm, as we're going to see, they have forgotten what Micah said in Micah chapter 6, verse 2. And what does the Lord require of you? And that's me, you, and everyone. But to do justice, to love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God. Of course, these judges were not doing justly, and they were not loving, and they were not showing mercy, and they were walking in defiance of God's will. And so God is using Asaph to call him to account in this passage, a good passage for us to hear and see today. Well, God bless you, and you have a wonderful, wonderful day.